Hello everyone, welcome to Rejuvenating Club. Let's inspire, let's grow. Episode 19.
Hi all, I am ANURAG.K.V of Weathervesa Institute of Technology, Mechanical Engineering first year.
As a part of Saturday series, I am explaining about the topic different type of steering system. There are mainly two type of steering system, the rack and pinion steering system and the conventional or integral steering system. The rack and pinion gear steering system or mechanism are used to convert the rotational motion to linear motion as we see in the animation. The main components of the rack and pinion mechanism are steer, shaft, universal joint, pinion, rack, tie rod, ball joint, steering arm and the stub axle. The movement of rack and pinion steer mechanism. A rack and pinion is a type of linear actuator that comprises a circular gear which is known as the pinion engaging a linear gear known as the rack which operates to translate rotational motion into linear motion. Driving the pinion into rotation causes the rack to be driven linearly. This is the diagram that I am explaining. In this steer system, the steer wheel is first connected to a shaft. After that, it is connected by a universal joint which bends it angular. The universal joint is directly connected to the pinion by a shaft and the power is given. The angular working of the pinion moves the rack. The wheel is connected to the rack by tie rod and the steering arm. The tie rod is connected to the rack by a ball joint. The ball joint helps the tie rod to move in all angles and directions. As the rack moves anti-clockwise direction, the pinion moves towards right and vice versa. The pinion rolls in the rack which transforms torque into feed force. The rack must need 20 teeth for smooth movement. Now I am going to explain about recirculating ball type steering, or it is also known as the conventional or integral steering type. In the recirculating ball type steering, all of the threads are filled with ball bearings that recirculate through the gear as it turns. The balls actually serve two purposes. First, they reduce friction and wear in the gear. Second, they reduce slope in the gear. Known with multiple names such as the worm or sector and recirculating ball and nut, this steering system is usually found in old cars and heavy duty vehicles like trucks. Its working is different from a rack and pinion. Let's see the construction of the recirculating ball steering system before we explain the working. The recirculating ball steering system has two gears, the worm gear and the sector gear. The steering wheel is connected to a threaded shaft which is connected to a block. The worm gear is quite big and goes through the block which is threaded in such a way it allows the worm gear inside. This block has gear teeth outside of it to which the sector gear is connected. This sector gear is then connected to the pitman arm while the pitman arm is attached to a tie rod. These are ball bearings inside the block that fill the thread of the worm gear. The working is simple like rack and pinion. Now it is the working of the ball type steering system. When the steering wheel is rotated, the shaft connected to the steering rotates as well. The gear is bolted to not move up and down. This makes the block and the worm gear rotate. The rotation makes the block move as it is not held down by anything. The moving block then moves the sector gear, which in turn moves the pitman arm. The thread of the worm gear is filled with ball bearing, which reduce friction and prevent the slop in gear. This is how the recirculating ball steering system works. It is rarely used now and is mostly found in trucks. Now it is the conclusion for rack and pinion mechanism. Rack and pinion steering is quickly becoming the most common type of steering in cars, small trucks and SUVs. It is actually a pretty simple mechanism. Rack and pinion system is also used in elevators and gates. Rack and pinion drives are used in machine tools, pick and place mechanisms and so forth to provide linear motion of slides, gantries, etc. Rack and pinion drives can use both straight and helical gears. For example, this is a picture of a rack railway. The rotation of the point moves on the locomotive or a railroad car engages a rack placed between the rails and helps to move the train up in steep gradient.
Conclusion for recirculating ball type steering system. Recirculating ball steering system is that uses a circulating ball and mechanism to control the steering of a steam locomotive. The driving force is applied to the track through contact between the driving wheel and rail. This allows for maximum adhesion without the need for drivers at either end of the locomotive. Thank you.